This DVD has been prepared to honour the people and the products they manufactured in Bundaberg, Queensland under the Austoft banner. Rarely has regional Australia witnessed innovation and manufacturing success of this level and for such an extended period of time. From the 1940s to 2004, the names Austoft and Austoft have been counted worthy to be associated with excellence and integrity. This story does not start around the polished boardroom table of a towering office block. Rather, it begins on a riverbank, no more than a few kilometres from where it finished. So what set this venture so far ahead of the many others who tried to accomplish this type of success using the same meagre resources? In a few words, the quality of the people.
December 7th, 1941. A date which will live in infamy.
If the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour.
Let's begin with the negative. What if the Austoft brothers had accepted the circumstances the war years of 1938 to 41 brought to the cane farmers of southeast Queensland? What if they had never become discontented about the situation of too few workers to harvest the cane fields because the young blood of Australia had left home to fight for freedom? We will never know, will we? But we do know that the creative discontent of these two young men opened a chapter in the lives of thousands of people both in Australia and internationally. At the height of their success, the name Austoft was in the vocabulary of every household locally and a highly respected stamp of quality and innovation throughout the sugar-growing countries of the world. From day one, the brothers Austoft made a formidable team. The combination of Harold's ingenuity and tenacity, combined with his brother Colin's professional business skills, produced a force that didn't regard any problem as an obstacle. Instead of stopping at obstacles, they focused their energy on overcoming them. Failure was never an option, whether it required hand sawing through solid steel bars to produce their early machines, or adopting the policy, if we can't buy the right component at the right price, we will make it ourselves, and we will make it better than the competition. The military staff sergeant may be the most feared and famous to shout the idea that if you keep pushing your limits, you won't have any. But Harold and Colin Austoft proved that it definitely worked in the design and manufacture of their machines, and with it, they changed the world. The Austoft timeline started moving in the late 1930s and early 1940s with the first cable loader. The first machine was built to solve a problem on their family property, but subsequent machines were soon being built in their farm shed for several envious neighbours. The success of the mechanical loader quickly spawned the idea of a mechanical sugarcane harvester. Did it work? Well, it worked better than cutting the cane stalks by hand. Even they could not have dreamt where this road that started in the fertile ground of a river-soil cane farm in Bundaberg would ultimately lead them. By 1947, Harold and Colin Austoft had seen the potential of their skills and formed the Austoft Brothers Partnership to manufacture mechanical sugarcane harvesters. Their first export was to South Africa in 1955. 1956 was a year of groundbreaking innovation. With the development of the hydraulic loader, Harold Austoft really pushed the boundaries of conventional thinking with this machine. His forward thinking produced a versatile machine, which was efficient not only in loading hand-cut sugarcane, but anything that needed lifting and accurately positioning. For this reason, these machines can still be seen performing their secondary function almost 50 years later. By this time, Harold and Colin were looking for skills in others to complement their own, and as new employees joined the Austoft brothers, an unusual element of company loyalty began to be sown into this venture. From that day to this, the name Austoft, whether it stood on its own or was part of a merged trademark, stands for world-class quality and reliability. The ingredient that made this company great was the people. They poured their lives into it. New employees would see the rare combination of qualities in these two brothers, and before long, the same commitment would begin to show in them. And the result was a much sought-after range of machines that could be purchased globally with confidence. Logic would suggest that, after all, before these machines, all sugarcane was cut by hand. A good cane cutter could cut about 9 tons every day, but he was not good for too long. This was hot, dirty and hard work. Stinking hot, as these Queenslanders would say. So now a machine can save the boys' backs and they can find civilised employment. Surely this was the ultimate. Perhaps many thought so, but not the Toft brothers. Early morning would bring Harold to the Avoca factory with a wry but determined look on his face, and the dedicated employees would wonder what this day would produce. They would usually go home much later from the tin sheds amongst the lush green cane fields, having adopted a new concept and being equally determined to see it roll out of the paint bay glistening in bright yellow as soon as possible. Since the early 60s, the revolutionary Toft whole-stick harvester had captured the imagination of cane farmers, and the many models of this machine began to cement a place in the sugarcane fields of the world. Surely this machine, which was capable of harvesting a massive 10 tons of sugarcane every hour, was the ultimate. These bright yellow machines of the late 60s were destined to prove that there was a better way of cutting down these tall sugarcane stalks and quickly loading them into in-field transporters bound for the processing mills. Throughout the 60s, flower power and hippies were not a problem here. Everyone was far too busy. By the mid-60s, the world was becoming aware of the Toft brothers' products, and manufacturing capacity needed to be increased. A new public company was formed in 1965, and the name of Toft Brothers Industries Limited began to grace the nameplates of some outstanding products, such as a machine that raised the eyebrows of many long-time farmers. They called it a chopper harvester. So what was the new concept? In hindsight, it sounds simple. Cut the stalks off at ground level, convey them in a bundle up an elevator, and chop them into short lengths. The idea was that this made handling much more efficient and also provided a way of keeping the soil in the field and out of the processing mills. Did this idea work? Yes, it did. So much so that a Hawaiian company saw the potential and bought 51% of the shares in Toft Brothers Industries. From this development came many changes. By 1973, Toft Brothers had purchased 2 other local manufacturing companies, Kalex Machining Works and the Don Cane Harvester and Implement Works. Later in the same year, the Hawaiian company was acquired by the Hong Kong-based Jardine Matheson & Co. All of these upstairs changes meant little to the workshop floor. It wasn't that they were unimportant, but the high priority was research and development, putting machines in the hands of cane farmers that would work more efficiently than anything else. Throughout the 60s and 70s, a staggering range of harvesters and loaders were designed and produced. Also by this time, the newly acquired companies were all consolidated in a new manufacturing facility appropriately named Riverside, on the northern banks of the Burnett River. During the mid-70s, the company had more than 750 employees and worked many long overtime hours to satisfy the full order book. Rubber-tired and full-track chopper harvesters right through the CH200, 264, 300, 364, 464, to the towering DR564, full-track double-row harvester. This monster was purpose-built for the Hawaiian cane fields and weighed in at approximately 40 tons. Just shipping this machine from the factory to the seaport was formidable. Its weight and size required overcoming many delivery challenges between the factory and the field. Of special significance during this time was the CH364, or better known as the Robot Mark I and Mark II. These models were tough and efficient, and their worldwide acceptance provided a solid foundation for the future. As important as sugarcane harvesters were to this company, their ability to see a need in an associated field, sometimes a totally unrelated market, and fill it with an efficient answer was astounding. The diversified list included transporters of many types and capacities, planters, field preparation implements, tea harvesters, coffee harvesters, access towers, airport tugs and baggage handlers, four-wheel drive tractors, trenching equipment and mining equipment, just to name some. So much of this company's success can be attributed to the faithful and talented people the Toft work ethic was able to attract. They came from many different backgrounds and willingly gave their unique expertise to be part of this company that was more like a family than a firm. The 1000 series range of harvesters started in 1977 and birthed a change in harvesting sugarcane that would propel the Toft name to great heights of respect. This range started with the RT4000 and included models through a 27-year period to the final model, the 7000 series. Not only did the engineering of the machine change, so did the colour schemes, from the original all-over yellow to red and yellow to green and gold, and finally all over red. More than 3,550 of the 6,000 and 7,000 machines rolled off the assembly line bound for every major sugar-producing country in the world, and at various times carried the badges of Toft Brothers Industries, Versatile Toft, Austoft and Case IH.
Today is a milestone and it shouldn't go unnoticed. It's easy to say to everybody, we need to see this job change that's happening right now for all of us in the same light as various job changes that have occurred past in our working lives. However, as we all know, the reality is that there are a few more issues at stake right here. I do hope, and I sincerely hope, that what we've all learned during our time here at Austoft helps us to go on to bigger and better things. Hopefully our Austoft experiences will be stepping stones for a better future. If emotion happens to be strong in you, then that's okay. In some ways we've got to regard this, I certainly regard this as gut-wrenching stuff.
Unfortunately, too much capacity for too few customers means this chapter of the story must end. But because it was sown in the fertile minds of willing and capable people, it will continue to be the catalyst to many more ventures of success. These new ventures may not carry the Toft or Austoft brand names, but those who foster them will know who inspired them.